Hi all, my name is Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today, the astrology of social media platforms. I am so excited. I was inspired by the original astrology YouTuber, Alicia Sharp. She goes by the Divine Venus. She posted this Facebook status around some of the sun signs on some popular social media networks, and it really got me thinking, what is the astrological charts for these websites that so many of us spend so much time on, and does it influence how that social media platform relates to us and the value that it provides for our life? So I've got a ton of examples ranging from MySpace to OnlyFans, bringing their charts and some parts of their chart that stood out to me. Before I dive in, if at any point during this video you gain any knowledge or clarity, if you could do me a favor and just like, subscribe, turn the bell on, anything you like, it really does help me to keep the Cosmic Kit videos coming. And I'm so very excited because we're almost to 1,000 subscribers, which obviously is not that much, but it was my goal for 2020. So if you could help me get there, I would be so appreciative. And for those who are subscribed, it truly means the world to me. So without further ado, let's dive in. I do not have the exact birth times for these platforms, so I set them to noon. So keep in mind when I show you the charts, try not to pay attention to the ascendant and the houses. We're just going to be mostly focusing on the planets and the signs, which of course, y'all know if you're watching this video that there's so much more to astrology. I just thought it would be fun to look at some of these charts and see what we can learn from them. So I'm going to move in chronological order. So let's start with the birthplace of them all, MySpace. So MySpace was founded August 1st, 2003 in Wallingford, Connecticut. At least that's where eUniverse is located, which is the company that housed MySpace. So that makes MySpace a Sun and Venus in Leo, a Mars in Pisces, a Virgo moon, and a Virgo Mercury. So a couple of things. I don't know if you were on MySpace. I most certainly was. And something that really stands out to me about MySpace is that it really allowed us to express ourselves. So it really made sense that it was a Leo. Like, you could customize so much about your profile. Like, I remember we were all coding to set up the coolest wallpapers and to set up, different songs to our profile and to have all sorts of fonts. And I had so much fun coding it to make it really express myself. And, birthplace of the selfie, like, the digital cameras, the pictures in the mirror, like all this. Like, it really was a time to express yourself, which I feel like the chart, with the Sun and the Venus in Leo, it really kind of captures that energy around self-expression. With the dignified Mercury in Virgo, it really allowed a lot of us these abilities to code, to focus on the details. And I'm so grateful for it. I mean, I was personally coding when I was like 12 years old, and it really granted a lot of us, at least the generation who was utilizing MySpace, these amazing skills to code and to focus on the details. Coding is truly just a language. Like, you just need to put in the right digits, the right details with the energy in Virgo, because MySpace is a Virgo moon and Virgo Mercury, to get it to do what you wanted it to do. If one detail was off, you didn't do the and before hearts, semicolon, you weren't going to get the heart icon. Like, you had to pay attention to the detail, and it employed a lot of us with details to be able to code in a lot of internet computer smart. So not only were we expressing ourselves with our customized songs and wallpapers and profile pictures and all of the things, but we're also learning the details, the code around being able to express ourselves authentically. And for many of us, the first time online. Facebook was founded February 4th, 2004 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It is a Aquarius Sun conjunct Neptune, a Cancer Moon, Mars in Taurus, Mercury in Capricorn, and Venus in Pisces, which is exaltation. And so a couple of things that I want to note about this. Of course, with the Sun in Aquarius, it is innovative, very innovative, created a whole new frontier for how social media is operated. And the conjunction to Neptune is interesting. And I found this similarly with Twitter's chart. It's like this energy around creating something and not knowing what it is. Like, there's a confusion around its identity. And I think Facebook is definitely that. It started as a means to rate women, and it transformed into this crazy data creating machine and like home to all these communities. Like it just created this monster, which no one knew it was going to be that. So it's almost like with the conjunction of Neptune, not knowing, you know, what it was that he was creating. Venus is exalted, Venus is money. So absolutely, you know, the money of Facebook was operated to make money. I mean, Mercury in Capricorn, North Node in Taurus, Mars in Taurus. There's a lot of energy around wanting to accumulate a lot of money and being concerned with that. With Cancer, the Cancer moon, you know, it is a place, how it started or how it was meant to be, is a place to keep up with friends and family, you know, nurture those bonds. And that's kind of what keeps you coming back to the platform, as a way to, you know, share photos and share updates with those who, you know, you're the closest to. And not only is Venus exalted, but it's opposing Jupiter, you know, a lot of money in it. And Mercury in Capricorn definitely gives this angle of being able to commerce, you know, your data from you. It was really the spearhead of that for sure. Next up, we have YouTube, which was founded February 14th, 2005 in San Mateo, California. Yes, YouTube is an Aquarius. I'm not shocked. YouTube is very, very innovative, and a couple of things that I want to draw into focus. So YouTube has an Aquarius Sun, Mercury in Aquarius, Venus Aquarius, Neptune Aquarius, a lot of energy in Aquarius. And Aquarius is future focused. And I feel like YouTube has done a good job of innovating, of staying ahead of things. You know, really innovated. Like, what do you do when you have to like fix something around your house? What do you do? I personally look at YouTube video because you can watch people doing all sorts of things. And it really innovated how we learn. Like now we have all of these videos to be able to learn truly anything you want. You could find a YouTube video to teach you about that thing. Like Aquarius is the innovator. It's like, you know, it's always future focused, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, which I feel like YouTube continually has been. YouTube has a Taurus moon. So YouTube, you know, makes a decent amount of money, both for the creators, although I feel like less now, but also for, you know, itself with the ads and whatnot, with the Taurus moon. They're also, particularly when it comes to like lifestyle vloggers and things like that, there is this desire to want to show luxury, you know, like that phase on YouTube where everyone was doing these huge luxury hauls and tour my mansion and designer shopping, all the things. There is kind of a focus on watch me flex, look at all these nice things, like look at what I'm doing. I have this beautiful, perfect life. Because, you know, with Taurus moon, there is an emphasis on money and on material goods. And YouTube, both for itself and for its creators, has reaped a certain amount of money, perhaps less so now. But with Taurus moon, there is a focus upon resources, upon making money. So even though it has all this Aquarius energy, which is very future focused and very innovative, its focus will always be, at least to some degree, around money and making it. Then with Mars and Capricorn, again, kind of contributes to that, this energy around, like, when I've looked at these social media charts, not all are super focused on money or have like a material focus within their chart. I mean, Instagram does, as well as YouTube, but yeah, there is this focus around making money and kind of portraying excess and portraying, you know, boss babe, business, with Mars and Capricorn, Taurus moon as well. So next I pulled up is Reddit, which was founded June 23rd, 2005 in Medford, Massachusetts. So that makes Reddit a Cancer Sun, a Capricorn moon, a Cancer Mercury and Venus, and a Mars in Aries, opposing Jupiter in Libra. So a couple things on Reddit. I mean, I know a lot of people think it's really nerdy. I personally love it. You can just really go on some deep dives, which I personally appreciate. Some things that stand out to me about the Reddit chart. First of all, there's a lot of Cancer. And Cancer, you know, we typically associate with home, with family, and it's also general public. Like the moon in astrology, which Cancer rules the general public because it's things that resonate with a lot of us. It's like our instinctual reactions. And with Reddit, there's a lot of little communities that almost have this very kind of nurturing feeling. Like, for example, I'm wearing a sweatshirt of a Reddit community that I'm a part of, Sophia with F, it's like around a podcast, and I love those people. It really creates this like homey, nurturing energy. Like it's almost like this family, but maybe I'm just part of the right Reddit groups. It also is about, you know, trends, things that resonate with us. I mean, there's all of these fans, people who are really, really emotionally committed to a podcast or an idea, that they, flock to other people to become almost like a family around the shared interest, which to me is kind of Cancerian energy, because it's people, around a cause or a thing or something that they are almost have this emotional connection to and looking for this community. At least that's been my experience with Reddit. So it's this craving of community, right? With all of the Cancer around these things that we are emotionally connected to, or at least that's been my experience on Reddit. But there's also this privacy angle to it. So Cancer is represented by crab. Crab has a shell, an exoskeleton. And Cancers are security oriented. They want to be safe in their little shell. So I almost feel like the very anonymous nature of Reddit, you just have a username, you don't like personalize your profile or anything. You're just kind of speaking your mind and just remaining in your anonymous self. And a lot of people do throwaways to just say something and then not have to deal with the ramifications. So I feel like Cancer energy definitely speaks that desire of wanting to keep your own personal life secure, or wanting to kind of hide in your shell while still wanting community, but also not wanting to be totally forthright. Mars is in Aries, which definitely lends to the very rawness, very direct. I mean, people be talking about the craziest stuff on Reddit. They really be sharing their life stories, and you really get some innermost details of people's lives, which can also, hark back to all the Cancer energy in it. But the Mars and Aries really stuck out because it's almost like this very direct, forthright, no filter, tell it all sort of energy. And I'm part of, some communities that are very nurturing and supportive. I know that there's definitely sinister communities on Reddit for sure, which definitely contributes to the Mars and Aries, which can be very forceful or very angry and just want a community of people that can be angry with them. So I would definitely say that could definitely contribute to it. Reddit has a Capricorn moon, which I feel like lends itself to the amount of essays that people will write. I mean, honestly, I get exhausted just writing a tweet, but sometimes I go to Reddit and have a life situation that I want advice on, and people just give paragraphs and paragraphs, and the level of research that people do on Reddit and the receipts that they be coming through with, I'm like, oh my gosh, you did your due diligence, honestly. Next up is Twitter, which was founded March 21st, 2006, San Francisco, California, and Twitter is in Aries with North Node in Aries as well. Twitter does not have an edit button, and Aries is about impulsivity, just saying what's on your mind, what's happening, and it's very quick micro messages, Aries do not dawdle. They get to the point. So it absolutely makes sense that Twitter is in Aries. Twitter is very innovative. Twitter's Mercury is conjunct Uranus. It occurs in the sign of Pisces. Of course, Mercury is in the sign of fall in Pisces, but with the conjunction to Uranus, it does indicate messaging, telling messages in a way that was not done before, innovating the entire space. I know in the founding of Twitter, they didn't know what they were creating until I believe it was an earthquake. And they realized when this earthquake was happening that Twitter broke the news before any of the media platforms could catch up. And they didn't realize that's what it was going to be, this huge kind of honestly news platform. Personally, a lot of the major news of 2020 has been broken down to me on Twitter because of the quickness. With energy in Aries, I mean, the message is right there because it's not having to filter through a media system of a journalist learning about the story, gathering the details and reporting it. It's someone being like, oh my gosh, the ground is shaking. And then the earthquake news comes right away. And with this energy in Pisces, it almost lends itself to this foggy nature of the creation of Twitter. I remember reading that they didn't think of its power, they didn't think of its power in that way, of being able to transmit news and messages right away at the drop of the hat. Until that's what it became. Pisces, very murky, confusing energy, but with the Mercury conjunct Uranus, it was something that innovated, even though if they didn't know what they were creating at the time, it innovated the space of messaging, Mercury, of how messages were received. Okay, so Twitter has a Sagittarius moon, which is why I think Twitter is so funny. I swear, Twitter is the funniest platform, I think, personally, and Sagittarians are the funniest in the zodiac because Sagittarius is honest. People are honest on Twitter. They're not trying to do the highlight reel like they do on Instagram. They are keeping it real. This is what's happening with my life. My room looks like this. My depression is like this. People are keeping it real, and they're also being very forthright and direct, which is indicated by the Aries sun, but conveying it in a way that's humorous and almost makes light lightness of it with the Sagittarius moon. Twitter's Mars is in Gemini, which absolutely lends itself to, firing off all of these micro messages. Are all of them the most important, well thought out thought? No. People will be tweeting all sorts of stuff. But with Mars and Gemini, it's about connecting. It's about sharing. It's basically putting out all of these little bits of information. Gemini is the messenger, and just seeing who will start a conversation with them. It's like just throwing out stuff. And Twitter's Venus is in Aquarius. Again, innovation. Twitter is really, really innovative. Next up is Instagram, which was founded October 6, 2010. In San Francisco, California. Instagram is of course a Libra because it is all about beauty and how things look. So it absolutely makes sense because Libra governs, Libra is ruled by Venus, which is beauty. And everyone on Instagram has this pressure to be the most beautiful version of themselves. And I also want to highlight that Libra draws into focus partnerships and relationships of all sorts. And there's also kind of this pressure on Instagram that I perceive anyway around legitimizing our relationships. Like if you hung out with someone, is it even legit if you didn't post a picture of your latte with their tag? Or Instagram official, did you post him on your grid? There's almost this energy around needing to legitimize our relationship by commenting on each other's pictures and sliding in each other's DMs and posting one another. There is this relationship angle to Instagram that I feel like it's also highlighted with the Libra energy, or they're not liking my pics. And they always do, so that says something about our relationship. Or they posted someone else on their story, so I must not be that important. There is a relational element where Instagram can honestly make or break relationships and friendships in many ways, honestly. So Instagram either has a Virgo or a Libra moon. The moon did change signs that day. I do not know, but I believe in my little astrologer brain that Instagram may be a Virgo moon. And I say this because of the emphasis upon perfection. Of course, it's a Libra. It wants to look pretty. It wants things to be harmonious. It wants to look popular. It wants lots of comments under their posts. But there is this underbelly of perfection that is causing people in this generation to face-tune themselves until they do not look like themselves, and to have to compete with this digitized version of themselves that they're putting out there that is almost contributing to body dysmorphia for lots of individuals. Because it's if you edit a photo and you feel self-conscious because you don't look like that, it's almost creating this other version of yourself in this pursuit of perfection. I just had to mention that because I do think that, there's nothing wrong with a little here and there editing, but I think so much of what we see on Instagram, it's pretty, it's lovely, it's all this Libra energy, but it's this desire of perfection, which is absolutely represented by Virgo, making all these little tweaks. Virgo is the details to make yourself, your skin more smooth, your waist more snatched, your butt bigger, until you don't even look like yourself. Just something I wanted to mention. No shame if you edit your photos, but I do feel like Instagram does have this pressure of perfection that would be represented by at least some Virgo energy present. Some other facets I want to point out about Instagram. The North Node is going into Capricorn. And it's interesting doing this now, 10 years later after the founding, because with the North Node in Capricorn, it kind of indicates what Instagram was destined to be all along, which is a business, commerce. Now they've replaced the likes button with shopping, a shopping tab where you can shop from different people, and influencers make tons of money on Instagram, and it's really became this business, the business of aesthetic, the business of selling things, the business of commerce, the business of greed, almost on Instagram. And with the North Node in Capricorn, it does indicate that it was, fated to become this. It was fated to become this really big business. I personally, back in the day when I first had an Instagram, I just post picture oh, here was a dog I saw at the park. None of us knew initially that it was gonna snowball into this commerce giant where people are making six figures taking pictures of their clothes. I don't think any of us initially thought that, but with the North Node in Capricorn, it was destined to become something, a structure, a big business where people could make a lot of money. And then Instagram has Venus and Mars in Scorpio, which does indicate this intensity to the platform. And, Venus is in its fall in Scorpio. So even though, with the sun in Libra, there is this emphasis on aesthetics, there's a darker underbelly to it. Like I was kind of talking about with the Virgo moon, like this darker kind of tone to getting super jealous or having these psychological kind of tinges to our experience of just being on Instagram with Venus and Mars in Scorpio, and almost being strategic about what messages you want to share and what you want to put out there and what would sway public opinion. Like Scorpio is very shrewd and very strategic. So although, Libra is about beauty, it's about harmony with the Libra sun, there is this kind of darker underbelly and this desire for perfection and this at all costs sort of energy to manipulate public opinion or to be very shrewd or very strategic about things. There's also, Scorpio is about privacy. And yes, some people do Instagram, their every single thought or story, their every single meal. Certainly I can do that from time to time. But with Venus and Mars and Scorpio, there is a desire to suppress the darker underbellies of life, or to be very private about those things, to only share what's beautiful, what's lovely, what'll perform the best, what'll make people like us. And I also feel like that suppression of like the reality of a situation, of what's really going on, also kind of shows up. Instagram's Mercury is also conjunct Saturn, so it's like a suppression of what we really want to say or what we really feel, in order to paint the most beautiful picture, to be shrewd about what messages we convey, to be mindful about what perception we create on our Instagram page. So 2020 was the year of two things, and that is TikTok and OnlyFans. And what if I told you that TikTok and OnlyFans were founded in the same month? Isn't that crazy? September 2016, both of what are now huge, giant conglomerates were just getting started. And it took some significant research on my end to find the exact dates. So if you could drop a like if you have not yet, because I seriously was looking at what date OnlyFans was founded for about an hour today. So if you could just like it, I would appreciate it. OnlyFans was founded September 1st, 2016. And so OnlyFans is a Virgo sun, Virgo moon, and OnlyFans was launched on an eclipse. And, with eclipses, there's this faded quality to it. And I mean, OnlyFans has had such a crazy rise, and things with eclipse, it's like really, really powerful starts and endings. And I almost feel like things that launch during that time, like the come down is just as hard. So it'll kind of be interesting to see what happens with OnlyFans. Of course, I'm not putting that out there if anyone relies on OnlyFans for income, but just the fact that it's created on an eclipse, like it definitely contributes to the amount of power that it amassed. Because again, with the moon and the sun on the North Node Rahu does contribute to material greed, to this like almost lust of like more, and it can create a lot of like things launched around that time can be very powerful, but it's almost like at what means, at what cost. It's like success no matter what. So, North Node Rahu is, yes, about material gain, but it also has really kind of sinister implications. It's kind of about greed. It's about material lust. It's about wanting and desire and more and more and more. It's the dragon's head. It's ravenous. It devours whatever's there. And with it right on sun and moon, it's like OnlyFans has this intense greed to become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that greed could permeate in a structure, how the business is run, this desire of whatever it takes, at what cost, more and more and more. So I will say that North Node right on the sun and the moon, it does indicate why OnlyFans has swelled to such a powerhouse and made so much money. But I would definitely say it can contribute to a decent amount of perhaps greed on the company's part. And it's interesting that it's Virgo because, Virgo the virgin. And I feel like OnlyFans really wants to portray this really virginal perception, even though a large basis of the people who utilize OnlyFans are sex workers. OnlyFans wants to ignore them and put it out there like, oh no, we're bodybuilders. Oh no, we're exercise. And that was what it was traditionally created for, but then sex work grabbed hold of it and it really became really lucrative for honestly disrupting the pornography scene. But OnlyFans and their branding and everything, they're like, no, we're just about creators and cooks and all of these things, even though sex work makes up a bulk of their creators, of their models, but they'll want to ignore that. You know, with Virgo, there's this energy of wanting to portray itself as like virginal and perfect, even though there is this kind of sexual undertone to it. Then with Venus in Libra, of course, there is a focus upon beauty around women, of course. I mean, I love how women are seriously disrupting how money operates in our society with the amount of insane money that people are making from this platform. It is honestly astounding. And then TikTok was founded September 26, 2016 in Beijing, China. It was originally under the name A.me until it was changed into Douyin, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, which eventually turned into TikTok, which honestly had a year this year. TikTok is a Libra sun in Jupiter. It is a Leo moon, Venus in Scorpio, Mercury in Virgo conjunct North Node, and Mars in Sagittarius. So the Leo moon, I feel like absolutely contributes to the self-expression on this app. I mean, I feel like people are so creative. They really express themselves. There's all sorts of fun effects and filters and green screen, and it really is an opportunity for people to create, and they set it to music. It's just a way for someone to express themselves. With Libra sun, I mean, it absolutely contributes to the aesthetic parts of the app, you know, like the skincare TikTok that's blown up, or like the beautiful girls who just get to like lip sync to slow down lyrics and like go viral from it. No shade, do your thing. But with the Libra energy, it does kind of have a focus upon beauty and aesthetics. But there is a darker underbelly with Venus and Scorpio. I mean, there was that trend, the bad romance trend, where people like would sing bad romance and every like riff would be something a little bit more traumatic as they went on. And there's all sorts of little micro communities or like things that'll come up on your For You page around people sharing like around their depression, around their anxiety, around their eating disorders, like very, very intense psychological things, but you know, condensing it into this micro 60-second thing so other people can relate. And I feel like it's almost making light of these things in perhaps a way that could be therapeutic for people with Mars and Sagittarius. As I mentioned with Twitter, which also has Sagittarius energy, Sagittarius is hilarious. So with the Venus and Scorpio, it's like taking these really dark, traumatic, psychological things that people are struggling with and tilting them in a little comedic light in a way that perhaps could make it easier or lighter to deal with. And the moon is in Leo, and TikTok is so creative. So many people are insanely creative with things. It's such an amazing way of self-expression. There's all sorts of filters that you can play with, voice effects, green screen. There's so many different ways to express yourself and share whatever message that you want to. On the topic of messages, TikTok is a Mercury Virgo, which is exalted. Mercury likes being in Virgo. I believe contributes to the, you know, the editing that this platform contains, the conciseness, having to truncate all of your messages to fit this small format. And, you know, Virgo is very detail oriented. So being able to edit and pick in between to condense a message to make it as short and as powerful as possible. The Mercury in Virgo is also conjunct North Node, which, as I mentioned with OnlyFans, it enhances it. It's an obsession around it. It's material gain, but it's definitely at what cost. And with Mercury being the messenger, you know, definitely rules data as well. There is an obsession with accumulating more and more data and, you know, learning more and more about us. And I would definitely say the technological aspect and the algorithm of TikTok is very, very robust. Something else I want to mention with these two, you know, giants having been launched in September 2016, you know, they really blew up in 2020, like for real. And you could definitely point that to, you know, quarantine, like everything that's going on this year. But another thing is, at the time, September 2016, it was during the Virgo eclipses. So the North Node was in Virgo, South Node was in Pisces. And now it's a nodal square because the North Node is in Gemini, a fellow mutable sign, and the South Node is in Sagittarius, which squares the initial nodes of Virgo and Pisces. So it's almost like this kind of halfway point of the app's creation that they're really, really blowing up. So just something I wanted to add. Friends, what did you think of today's video? I would so love if you could drop a like, a comment, turn the little bell on if you gain any knowledge throughout the course of this video. I so appreciate it. My Instagram handle is at Comet Astrology. I post a weekly IGTV called Magic Monday, which outlines the weekly astrological events. And I would so love to invite you to join me there so you can, synchronize with where the cosmic energies are pushing you rather than forcing, swimming upstream. Until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.